two, 1, 2, 3.
September 3rd was Labor Day, and Tompkins and Cortland County workers held their 38th annual Labor Day picnic. I believe, based on my files of old Ithaca DSA newsletters, that the first one was in 1984. A couple of years during the COVID pandemic were skipped. I think I have attended all of the picnics. On a couple of occasions, Wales and I even had to plan travel to get back just in time. In the 1980s and 1990s, it was the Tompkins Cortland Labor Coalition that put on the picnics. Apparently, in those days, there was no Mid-State Central Labor Council. That was set up later. I don't know just when, probably around the millennium. The Labor Coalition was like a labor council in that it brought union locals together. On the other hand, the Labor Coalition was different from a labor council in that it also brought together unions and sympathetic people who were not and often could not be union members. I'm guessing that the forming of the Mid-State Central Labor Council, AFL-CIO, led to the end of the Labor Coalition simply because the Labor Coalition had then lost much of its purpose. In the late 1990s, I, like many Ithaca area activists, got very involved in issues around globalization, the threatened multilateral agreement on investment, popularly called MAI, that was being negotiated in secret but got leaked, exposed to widespread scorn and protests, and finally died in 1998. Then, fears that something like it would be cooked up at the November-December 1999 meeting of the World Trade Organization, or WTO, led to the famous Battle of Seattle. Protesters there were labor unionists and environmentalists, meeting there or even working together. I was not there, but there were some related campus events here at Cornell, and they were the occasion of some of my earliest videotaping. Why have I gone off on this tangent? Because in those years, it seemed that international trade and investment agreements were the biggest threat to working people. Teamsters and turtles together at last, as many people said. Then came April 2000 and meetings of both the World Trade Organization and the International Monetary Fund in Washington, D.C. Both Cornell students and Ithaca area residents formed groups to travel to Washington to disrupt or even close down those meetings with street action. I was there as part of a new group that called itself Ithaca Sharks because we carried inflated pool toy sharks labeled World Bank Loan Shark and IMF Loan Shark. Ithaca Sharks remained together as an organization for a few years after that. We had a living wage committee, and that committee agitated for what was then considered a living wage ordinance. It was county legislation promising that the Tompkins County government would pay its employees a living wage and also require that organizations and companies that had county contracts also pay living wages. In 2003, it passed the county legislature. The people who had achieved this stayed together. Within a couple of years, Pete Myers of the Ithaca Sharks and Carl Foyer from the labor movement had established the Tompkins County Workers Center, taking up that relationship with organized labor and outreach to unorganized working people that the Labor Coalition once had done. And so we come to this year's Labor Day picnic. Several key union leaders who had taken on much of the responsibility for the picnics over the last couple of decades were burnt out. The Workers' Center was left alone, but no, not really, because a few of the union leaders remained available and many DSA members stepped up. Well, typically they were both DSA members and already involved in the Workers' Center. Aside from difficulties planning the picnic, on Labor Day, the weather was not entirely cooperative. It rained just a little at start time. Then it cleared, but all day there was a strong, cold wind blowing down the lake and into Stewart Park. You will probably hear it a bit in the recordings. Let's turn to the picnic. Be aware that for some minutes at the beginning, the sound is very bad, but hang in there, because then the band's sound person did something, and suddenly it was much better.
Next up, Pete Myers. Let's hear for Pete.
Thanks everybody for being here. My name is Pete Myers. I'm the director of the Tompkins County Workers Center. I am one of
I just turned it down here.
Hi everyone, I'm Justine Mata, and I'm a postdoc at Cornell, and I chair So I was asked to say a few words about this year's theme for our picnic, which is women and gender non-conforming workers. Woo! So ideas about gender continue to shape the structure of the workforce, the type of work that people do, and how workers are paid. But gender also shapes the type of activity that we understand as work, and whether that activity is compensated. And many people, as you know, predominantly women, continue to perform a great deal of unpaid work, sustaining human life and making paid work possible. This picnic celebrates working people who do paid work, but it also celebrates working people whose labor is unpaid. Among paid workers, gender also shapes our needs in the workplace and how we organize. We've seen over the past years how employers have used dead names, have denied workers access to gender-affirming health care, and have used other strategies to intimidate, union-bust, and demoralize gender non-conforming workers. Transphobia is just one more tool that employers have learned how to weaponize, along with racism, sexism, and language discrimination, to try to weaken the power of working people. And I use the word to try specifically because we know that workers have also resisted these efforts to divide us. There's a heck of a lot further than would have been possible without the courageous step of the labor movement. So we'll stay tuned today for the results of that. All right. So now I will start to announce some awardees this year, starting with the Mother Jones Award, which is named in honor of Mary Harris Mother Jones, who was a fearless organizer in some of the most important labor struggles of the late 19th century, including the fight against child labor and in favor of the 8-hour day. She was once introduced to a crowd as a humanitarian, and she got up out of her seat and said, "Get it straight. I'm not a humanitarian, I'm a hellraiser." And I think that quote embodies the spirit of Mother Jones and the fearless organizing of this year's awardee. So I want to invite to the mic Olivia Duell, representing last year's awardee, the Advocacy Center of Tompkins County, to introduce this year's winner.
Hi everyone, my name is Olivia. Olivia. I received this award with my comrades last year. We did unionize our former workplace, the Advocacy Center. They have a 3-year contract and more money, and that's really amazing. So I'm really happy and honored to be here and asked to present this year's Mother Jones Award to the Cornell Graduate Students United for their successful union election, for their commitment to union solidarity, and for their ongoing fight for a fair contract. So please come up and please accept this award, and amazing job. Congratulations.
Okay, before Maggie accepts the award, I just wanted to say a couple words about why this struggle is particularly important, and why the fight of graduate workers is important, especially for folks who are in other industries besides higher ed. And we think, oh, graduate students are students. So in fact, they do a great deal of the work that makes universities run. They do all the work in labs, a great deal of the teaching, running discussion sections, grading papers. Basically, Cornell would not be able to run without its graduate workers. And so the struggle that they're engaged in right now is one of the most important fights against the sort of the transformation of the power in universities, which is increasingly getting redistributed upward, and graduate workers are pushing back against that, and CGSU has fought really hard against that. And so I'll turn it over to Maggie to talk about that.
Thank you so much, everyone. Just wanted to do a quick sound check. Can people hear me? Should I yell? Okay, great. Usually I'm speaking on a megaphone, not a microphone, so this is a bit new for me. And frankly, my speech is not loading, so we're gonna have to ad-lib this one. Sorry, everyone, if I ramble a little bit. So for those who don't know, I'm Maggie Pacheco, one of the other Maggies here, and I'm on the bargaining committee for CGSU UE. We represent the research assistants, the teaching assistants, graduate research assistants, so many workers who do labor at Cornell University and get paid absolute garbage for it with very little protection. And so I've been reminiscing on what it has taken us to get to the point where we're fighting our first contract, because when I got involved, we were less than a dozen people on a Zoom call after an unsuccessful unionization attempt that was really difficult to swallow. And we, this past November, won our unionization vote of over 3,000 workers at Cornell University. Oh, this is great. I didn't know I had a drummer back here. I'm gonna be so much more brazen now. And I was also thinking, like, how do you get from less than a dozen people to over 3,000? And I think that a huge boon for us, as horrible as it was the pandemic. The pandemic showed us who was actually essential. My boss didn't come into work for, 18 months after we shut down. I was in there every day during the shutdown. I took care of a whole colony of mice. I took care of the liquid nitrogen tanks. I kept cells alive. I did so much labor when the university was shut down. And that is when I think our workers really understood how essential we are. And I think it's really important to remember that we are the essential workers. UAW 2300, this university doesn't do a damn thing without you, and they don't do a damn thing without us. And I also think about how much has happened in the last 4, 5, 6 years since all of that BS has gone down with the pandemic. I have been through so much personally. I have been an organizer the entire time. And the only thing that let me stay as a constant organizer through sickness, through my A exam, through a master's degree, through everything, the only thing that made it so that I could stick around as an organizer was solidarity with other union members. We cannot do this alone. And it is so incredible to know that everyone here has our back and that we have yours. And I gotta say also, thank you so much to UAW 2300 for showing our members that we can do it. We can vote to go on strike. You don't die if you walk off the work site. I want to thank you guys for writing a diss track about Cornell that we are absolutely going to use on our picket lines, that we are going to be using at our rallies. And I just really want to put it out there that we can't do what we've done without y'all. And I hope that we have been like an effective, helpful force in helping you guys push for your contract fight. And, you know, God bless the workers' movement, God bless the people's movement, and free Palestine.
Thank you, Maggie. Okay, this next award is named in honor of Asa Philip Randolph, who in the 1920s organized and led the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, which was a powerful union of Black and Filipino workers that helped to democratize and strengthen the American labor movement. Randolph also used collective action, specifically a threatened march of 50,000 Black workers on the nation's capital, to convince President Roosevelt to sign an executive order prohibiting discrimination in the military and defense industries. Like Randolph, this year's awardee has been steadfastly committed to solidarity and persistent in their efforts to win more for their fellow workers, particularly in their current campaign to bargain a contract. So in recognition of the initiative, activism, and solidarity in the struggle to protect the rights of working men and women, for facing adversity and challenges from those who deny workers their lawful right to join together in struggle against injustice, we award the Asa Philip Randolph Award to the Ithaca College Contingent Faculty Union. And Amber Leah Kloppel will accept the award.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's wonderful. Hi, everyone. I'm Amber, and I'm a steward at the Ithaca College Contingent Faculty Union. We worked really hard to get our most recent contract signed, and for a number of wins. M. Edmonds and Julianne Hunter, who is not here, put in tireless hours attending meetings and negotiating. Credit goes to SEIU and its representatives, including our current rep, Bryant Tookey, and ultimately to the people who unionized us at IC in the first place, beginning in 2015. Rachel Falmahat, yes. Kip Opperman, who is right here, and my fellow union steward, and Megan Graham, among others. Megan is here as well. Woohoo! It was when we unionized that we saw real wage increases and greater job security. In the next 3 years, we need to build our active membership and strategize. We have the numbers to enact real change for ourselves and to set an example nationally for what is a national injustice in the way that adjuncts are treated and paid. Woo! One more thing I'd like to say. As a union, we advocate for our members and for workers in general. In doing so, we perform a necessary task in higher ed, watching and helping to keep in check the administrations and boards that are increasingly apt to run universities like big businesses, with an unconscionable emphasis upon growth that is ultimately unsustainable. Unions protect workers, but they can also protect the integrity and morality of institutions. So thank you for this award and recognizing the importance of the Contingent Faculty Union at IC.
And I want to give out a big thanks to Brian Took, our union guy from SEIU. He walked us through it. He's great.
Yay!
Thank you, IC Contingent Workers Union. Okay, our next award is named in honor of Dolores Huerta, who was one of the founders of the United Farm Workers and a militant activist for labor justice, a community organizer who understood the power of alliance and solidarity. The coalition, recognized in this year's award, honors and demonstrates Huerta's spirit of community solidarity, particularly in the fight against intimidation, harassment, and autocratic management power. They fought for legislation that will strengthen protections for workers against unjust terminations and discriminatory action in the workplace. So this award goes to the Just Cause Coalition, and I want to invite members of the Just Cause Coalition to come up here and accept the award.
Thank you, guys. Hello. My name is... Closer? What are we doing? Gotta get closer? Better? Hello, everyone. My name is Jorge DiFondini. I'm here with the Ithaca Just Cause Coalition. I'm here accepting the award, but I want to just really reiterate that this is a coalition effort. This is a coalition effort, and we wouldn't be able to do this without all of the organizers and the organizations who make this coalition possible. So I just want to shout out a couple of them right now. I want to shout out Pete Myers from the Tompkins County Workers Center. I want to shout out Sarah Curlis from Ithaca DSA and Nathan Sitarama from Ithaca DSA. I want to shout out Adam from CPUSA, Kayla and Phoebe from the Solidarity Slate for introducing this. I want to shout out Stephanie from WFP, Christine from UAW, Paul and Irene from NELP, and so many, many more for making this possible. We started this coalition, this fight for Just Cause in 2022 when Starbucks closed down its stores to union bust. The coalition came together because we believe governments can't let companies, big or small, bully our workers. You don't get to fire your workers for no damn reason. And we're going to make sure that that's the law and that no company is above the law. If you want to help us pass this law this year and next year, please join the coalition. And I want to thank you all so much for your fight and for being in solidarity with us. We're going to be in solidarity with you. Thank you so much.
Just want to give people a little context about Just Cause if you don't know much about it. The Tompkins County Workers Center started in 2003, and we started a workers' rights hotline, and we've had over 5,500 cases in those 21 years, and a full 26% of the people who call us are calling because they feel they've been fired without just cause. And most people in this country, regardless of where you're on the political spectrum, thinks you just can't fire somebody just because of the way they, if they dress the wrong, I mean, you can really fire anybody in this country for anything. And 90% of the workers in this country are not in unions in the first place, so that's why this legislation is so very important. And, Jorge has done, this is a coalition, and Jorge really got it going, truth be known. So, thanks, Jorge. I'm now going to pass the mic back over to Justine.
Okay. Our next award is a new one this year, and it's named in honor of Karen Lewis, who helped transform the Chicago Teachers Union into a powerful democratic union that popularized the idea of of bargaining for the common good. Lewis led over 25,000 Chicago teachers in the historic 2012 citywide strike that fought against cutbacks, merit pay, privatization, charterization, and fought to get ICE out of schools and a nurse into every school. The Karen Lewis Award is presented to a union that has fought against austerity and in support of sufficient staffing, services, and funds to meet the needs of the people that they serve. Like Karen Lewis and the Chicago Teachers Union Core Caucus, they embody the belief that the fight for the youth is a fight for ourselves. This award goes to the Ithaca Teachers Association.
Hi everybody, I'm Catherine Cernera. I am the president of the Ithaca Teachers Association, and Sorry, I'm the president of the Ithaca Teachers Association. My name is Catherine Cernera. I have some of my fellow leaders of the Ithaca Teachers Association here with me today. And we are so thankful to be part of this community, to be doing this work with all of you. One of the things that we are learning as we grow in our union work is how much the adage that if you are doing it alone, you are doing it wrong really matters. We appreciate every single one of you who sends us your kids in our schools every day. We appreciate you being out here to support us. We are about to enter a hard contract fight this year. We are also facing a school budget that is functioning with a $7 million deficit. And we are doing all of that while also understanding that we live in a town where we have a major tax-exempt entity that leeches from the services of our town. And we are just here today to remind everybody that teacher working conditions are student learning conditions, and to appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
If you agree that Cornell should pay more to support students and teachers, we have a petition inside that you can come sign. And I'm going to do a little chant. I say, when we fight, you say, we win. When we fight! When we fight! When we fight!
Thank you.
Just want to let everybody know we're going to thank our co-sponsors who help really make this picnic financially possible. These co-sponsors include the Tompkins County Tourism Board, the Tompkins County Working Families Party, the First Baptist Church, AAUP, which is the ILR School, Tompkins County Working Families Party, Teamsters Local 317, the Banks Ambulance Workers Union, Workers United Rochester, Cornell on Fire, and the Communist Party Ithaca branch. So we now move on to our next musical act, which is Go Gone, and we'll be back with four more awards at roughly 2:15.
Not plugged in, Ted. Yeah.
So that was the first part of the Labor Day picnic of 2024.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.